haven't recorded a video in a whole month. I've been waiting for this moment. I literally just finished it as the time I'm recording this. But today, we're going to be doing a review of Heartstopper Season 3. I've been so excited for this. I made the thumbnail a year ago. Okay, now, I just want to say right off the bat, I still think Season 2 is my favorite. Yeah. That might change when I watch Season 3 again, like, soon. But Season 2 is still my favorite right now. It just felt more like an adventure, I guess you could say, because they went to Paris and stuff. But, yes. But Season 2 is still amazing. There's so many sad moments. I cried twice. My mom cried 5 times. Yeah. I also want to say another obvious thing. You know, Nick's mom was gone. Olivia Colman wasn't available. Hopefully, knock on wood, when Season 4 happens, that she'll be able to return. But if not, you know, at least they know they can do it without her. It's not the same, but yeah. Tori got a lot of scenes as well, actually. The first scene was with Tori as well. That was pretty cool, actually. I liked that a lot. Yeah, I'm glad that Tori got a lot more screen time. We'll talk about Tori in a little bit, though, because I want to talk about the stars, obviously, Nick and Charlie. Why wouldn't I want to? So, the first episode's about Charlie wanting to tell Nick that he loves him, but also Nick wants to talk to Charlie about his eating disorder. So, conflict. They go to the beach with their friends and that. I'm not going to talk about, like, everything that happened, because, like, I don't want this to be too long, but, like, I don't have any notes, because I didn't want to take notes as I was watching, so I, like, kind of have to, like, go off my memory, but, yeah. Then when they were, like, in the ocean together, Nick was like, you know, I think you have an eating disorder, and then Charlie was like, I'm fine, Nick, really? And he was like, is that what you want to talk about? And he was like, yeah. It wasn't. No, he wanted to tell me he loved him. And then a lot of other things happened. Like, Tao and Elle were taking their relationship to the next step. Tao was being, like, very clingy. And actually, it started to annoy the other friends because they felt like they were being terrible friends because they were just focused on each other and talking about each other all the time. And it was like... Isaac felt like a third wheel most of the time. But we'll get into Isaac soon. Don't worry. What else happened? Yeah, and then, like... Tara and Darcy started living together, but then Tara kind of, in the nicest way possible, started getting sick of Darcy and told her to move out with her nan, which she did, which is fair enough, you know. Okay, and then later on, Nick and Charlie went back to Nick's house. It was like a whole thing, you know, like, you know, I can't believe you're going on holiday for 3 weeks. He was going to Menorca. His mom couldn't make it. Yeah, so then... he got a text telling him to come home, like Charlie, and then Charlie went to, because Nick was in the shower, and Charlie went and knocked on the shower door, and he's like, I have to go home, and then he went, you know, while we were talking about the beach, I lied, I really wanted to say, I love you, and he said, I love you, and then he was like, I just want you to know before you left, and then he left, like, to go home, and then Nick burst out the shower, he slipped, it was so funny. It happened in the books as well, I've read all the books, so yeah. I should have said this actually. Season 3 is book 4 and book 5 put together. Like, the first half is book 4 and the second half is book 5. Just wanted to say that. But, I'm sorry, I'm rambling, I know. And then, like, Nick went after Charlie and said that I love you too, and that I cried at that, obviously, because that was the scene I was most afraid of. I was really nervous about that scene. I was nervous about all the scenes, to be fair, with Charlie's mental health. But, yeah, it all worked out fine. Okay, episode 2... Nick went on holiday with his an uncle and his cousins. They actually just said, sorry, Mom couldn't make it. Like, pretty funny, actually. I know, I just found it weird that David didn't go, because David went in the books, but not in the show, which was quite an interesting change, but we'll talk about the changes in a different video. I wrote notes for that every time we had to pause it, so yeah. I should have wrote notes about the whole... No, that would have been too long. But Charlie's mental health kind of spiraled from there, really. It got worse and worse, and, like, Nick started to get worried, and then Nick's aunt told him how he could help him, and that, you know, it shouldn't all have to be down to him. Charlie needs to get professional help. And it was all sad, and, like, I cried at that bit, too. That was the bit I was really worried about, because it made me cry in the books, but it just would have been more impactful if it was Olivia Colman. It really would. Like, and now I'll never, ever get to hear Olivia Colman say that, and it does make me quite sad, actually. Maybe in another universe, though. Maybe another universe. He also mentioned that Isaac was, like, still figuring out that he was aromantic and asexual, and he had told Charlie at the beach, which was quite nice. Charlie was the first person he told. But he started feeling like a third wheel to Tao and Elle, and Charlie stopped contacting them all because he was going through all of the mental struggles, and that was, like, really horrible, actually, for him. It was really scary for him, really. But then he, like, you know... Yeah, Isaac went to Charlie's house to check on him to make sure he was okay, but then Charlie lied about his mental health, and then they just spent the day together, and then, like, this happened later, but I'm just going to mention it now. Tao and Isaac had a falling out because Isaac was, like, mad that Tao and Elle just kept being with each other, And then that's when they realized, oh, we should probably treat our friends better, actually. We can't just be, like, lovey-dovey in front of them all the time, which, like, they could if they wanted to, but it's good that they, like, had that, mentality with their friends. I like that. I'm glad. Although, this happened later on, but I want to talk about it now. Darcy came out as non-binary. I knew it. I knew that they were going to be non-binary. I freaking called it. Because obviously they're played by non-binary actors, so, I was kind of hoping that they would be non-binary, and then, like, my friend pointed this out, but they wore a non-binary shirt in one scene in season 2, which I forgot to talk about in my symbolism video, but don't worry, we'll get there as well, don't worry. So yeah, it was all foreshadowed, so I'm really glad. I'm glad that Kizzy kind of got to be themselves now, like, rather than being, like, a different gender. It was foreshadowed really well, though. Like, people kept passing them saying, sorry, ladies, or, like, oh, you're a hot girl, and it's like, well, no one said that, but it's an example. And they kept saying, like, I don't like that, So that's cool. I really loved that. Tara also went through a lot. She had a full-on panic attack about university. It was just all getting too much for her. I think that's why she didn't want Darcy to live with her anymore, but yeah. Also, Darcy moved in with their nan, and they blocked their mum, which, bravo, that was awesome. Anyway, the main plot. What happened next? Well, they reunited at school, like, Nick and Charlie, and all the friends, and then, like, that's when, like, Nick started to try and talk to Charlie about it in a safe place, which was the art room, but it didn't work, so at Nick's birthday, they went to the zoo, which was really nice. That's when Isaac came out to everyone as aromantic and asexual, which was really nice. And then, like, they went home, like, Nick and Charlie went to Nick's house, and that's when, like, Nick talked about how, like, he needs to tell his parents, and he should write it down, and that's when he did, and then it ended with, like, him reading the letter to his parents, and then the next episode actually took place a few months later, because, spoilers, if you haven't read the books or watched season 3 yet, if you haven't watched it yet while you're watching this video, Charlie went to a psychiatric ward because his mental health just went down, like, very down. It was in this time that Darcy came out as non-binary. So yeah, Charlie spent a few months in a psychiatry ward because, after he told his parents he wasn't getting an appointment until January, and at this point it was September, and his mental health just kept going down. He started relapsing, if you know what I mean. I don't want to say what he did, but I think you can guess he relapsed. So it got serious, but it definitely helped him. He met his therapist, Jeff, and it all worked for him, definitely. It didn't magically fix him, obviously, because mental illnesses don't go away like that. But he got diagnosed with OCD and anorexia, and then that was that, We went home at Christmas, and the Christmas episode. So, I read that this happens in the books as well, but Charlie's family are like, I'm glad that you got out of the nut house. Must have been so many crazy people in there, and I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, what? There's no need for that. Like, God's sake. Like, Charlie's mom, like, she wasn't that bad, actually, in this season. I thought she was going to be worse, because, I don't know, after Darcy's mom, I just kind of feel like she's not as bad as I think she is, or as many other people think she is, because she actually at least tries. So yeah, Charlie's mom actually did kind of try, but she just made it worse, and then Charlie, like, left to go to Nick's house for Christmas, because at least Nick's family don't know about all of his mental struggles, and he got to meet Nick's new dog, Henry, who I've been dying to talk about for ages now. Yeah. So if you're still watching this and you haven't seen it, then spoilers, Nick has a new dog for Christmas. But yeah, Nick's brother also, like, said something really horrible. He said, like, your boyfriend just wants attention. And guess what Nick said? I actually said it first, and I didn't expect it. So, while I was watching and, like, Nick's brother said that, I was like, oh my god, fuck off. And then Nick came out with, David, shut the fuck up! So, yeah. That was the first F-bomb in the show, so that was cool. I like that the show grew with the audience. That's pretty cool. But after that, Tori came to collect Charlie because she was... I'm not gonna lie, like, I get she's worried about him and that, but that was kind of a bit selfish of her. Like, I get, like, she had to deal with her family as well and all of her anxiety and having to worry about Charlie, like, this whole season because she learned about his anorexia, like, without, like, him knowing because she looked at his history. But... it was a bit selfish, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't know if anyone else sees it that way, but I just don't like the fact that Tori, like, kind of made that about her. I don't know. Maybe I read it wrong and it wasn't that at all, but that's kind of how I took it. And it felt a tiny bit selfish and a tiny bit regressive of her character. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Also, the New Year party. This is when it starts to get a bit, saucy, for lack of better words. Yeah, so this is when Charlie first reunites with all of their friends, and it's like it's quite nice to see them all reunite. But like Tao and Elle starts talking about her gender dysmorphia, which is done really well actually. I especially since they didn't really focus on that in the first two seasons, so it's nice to see like the transgender struggles there. I like that. So they want to have sex basically, but obviously Elle hasn't had any of the surgeries yet. So she has gender dysmorphia and body dysmorphia, so she doesn't want to show her body to Tao. But Tao's okay with it, he doesn't want to rush it. But then Elle, like, at the party is talking to Tara, and then, like, she decides that she does want to do it, and then I don't know whose house this is, by the way. They go up to one of their bedrooms, like, not their bedrooms, but the person that owns the house's bedroom, and, like, do the thing in there. We didn't see it, obviously. I'm really glad we didn't, but, yeah, I don't know how they did it, because, like, obviously, like, they couldn't do it the penetration way. But they did it. They had sex. I think they were the first ones to have sex, or maybe it was Tara and Darcy. I don't know. But yeah. Oh, actually, I want to mention the Halloween party as well. I forgot about the Halloween party. While Charlie was in the psychiatry ward, Nick and everyone else had a Halloween party, and Nick dressed as Captain America, which I wonder where they got that inspiration from. And then Imogen, this was weird actually. Imogen was like, "You're supposed to be the Ken to my Bobby." Like, what? Like, excuse me? That's a bit weird and inappropriate. Like, what the hell are you, like... And then Imogen and Sahara get drunk and they make out at the party. Yeah. and Imogen's laughing and it hurts Sahara's feelings, and then, like, I knew they were going to kiss eventually in season 3, but not quite how I expected it, not gonna lie. Also, I want to quickly mention, there's one scene when Nick and his friends are playing Smash Bros, but they're playing the Sonic Heroes song, and that made me light up so much. Like, oh, I got so happy at that bit, because if you know me, that game is literally my childhood, so yeah, that made me so happy, especially compared to all the drama and sadness that the season had, so that was a good one. Thank you so much for that, Alice. And it also means that I can include that song into the soundtrack, so thank you for that as well. Okay, so, going forward, what I talk about the New Year party. Actually, time skipped another 3 months after that, because we're in April at Charlie's birthday. Actually, Sahara and Imogen made up at New Year, and they actually kissed at midnight. I think it was just meant to be like a kiss at midnight. Also, James only had a couple of scenes, but they were nice. It was nice to see Isaac have him to talk about being aromantic and asexual with. And there's probably other things I'm forgetting, but, like, I don't want the review to be too long. So yeah, Charlie starts to wanting to have sex with Nick, and this is what I was dreading. I was really dreading the sex scenes, because if you know me, sex scenes make me very uncomfortable, but I kind of had hope, because the way that the sex scene was written in the novella, that is, like, my favourite sex scene. Like, not in a creepy way, but, like, it's written so well that I didn't feel icky or, like, minging watching it. Not reading it, sorry. I actually felt, like, emotional reading it. It was just done so well. So I had hope when Alice, and that hope was definitely lucky. I'll say that. Because, it's near the end of the year, so Charlie has his, like, GCSEs. We don't have those here, sorry. So yeah, like, he was doing that, but he also wants to have sex with Nick. He's ready to have that, and so is Nick. Nick's ready to do that, too. They keep flirting, he texts, and at sex ed, they learn how to put a condom on a cucumber, which we really need to get better at sex ed. We really do. Like, it's kind of ridiculous how bad sex ed is. But yeah, it was really done really well. Nick and, but Nick is getting ready to, like, look at universities, because he's going into year 13, the last year, and it's quite, like, that's emotional too, actually. Like, I don't really know how else to say it, but I'm glad that the first half focused on Charlie's mental health, and then the second half focused on Nick's mental health. I think that was a really good idea. Instead of, like, just one being more, like broken than the other, they're both just as broken as each other. Also, I want to talk about this, I forgot. So, if you'll remember, Elle goes to Lambert University for art school, and she's getting popular on Instagram. She's getting a lot of followers because of her art, and she gets an opportunity to be interviewed for her art. If you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm going to say. I'm not ready for it, but it was like a trap, basically, because the moment she sits down, like, the first question is, your art's about trends, and can you tell me why? Which, that was fine. I don't mind that. And then she says, like, it's a big part of who I am, blah, blah, blah. And then the interviewer is like, oh yeah, so the trans rights, you know, so this trans right and that trans right, and then you transes are all pedophiles, right? She didn't actually say that, but that's basically what she meant. And, you know, it actually angered me. I called her the C word out loud, like, because that was CUNTY behavior right there, and I'm not okay with that. Like, that was absolutely minging. And then Elle's parents are getting mad because the interview was meant to be about her art, and nothing to do about being trans. It was about her art, and they trapped her to try and discuss trans issues. So Elle just walked out of the interview, and it actually ruined her. It made her so depressed. She like stopped painting as much. She like kind of like her mental health went down because of that. Tao was trying to like keep her spirits up because Tao's actually been filming like everything that's going on this whole time because he found his dad's old camera from when he used to film Tao as a baby, and now he's like a filmer, which felt a bit racist, not gonna lie. But still, like, it's still cool that he found a passion that isn't drawing, like, because let's face it, he's not that good at drawing, so he finally found his passion in the arts, and it's photography and filmmaking. But yeah, that interview really angered me with how they trapped Elle like that, and I felt really bad for Elle, like, the struggles that she faced this season, oh my god. Especially with what's going on right now, but I don't want to talk about that right now. I think I mentioned Darcy coming out as non-binary. I did, but I just want to say I'm glad it wasn't a big deal. Like, at first I was like, they've not really made a big deal of this, which I found quite jarring, because usually the non-binary character, it's their whole personality. Or, like, they're an alien or something. Please stop making non-binary characters aliens, please. But thank God that their coming out story was not, like, a big deal, or they're an alien, because, yeah, it made it much better for me. At first I was, like, a bit jarred, but I liked it. I liked the fact that it wasn't a big deal. It made me very happy. Yeah, Imogen didn't get quite a lot of screen time this time, which I found weird, because Imogen's the most memeable character in the show. But yeah, she was still part of the group, but she wasn't really there, really. She did have a lot of funny, like, quotes that I'll definitely be quoting from now on, because I always quote Imogen, because she's so funny. But yeah, I didn't like her that much this season. So I feel like Sahar definitely deserved more screen time, though, because I love Sahar so much. Like, Sahar got done a bit dirty. There was one change of her I found interesting, but I'm going to talk about that and my differences between the books and show part 3, because I have all that written already. So yeah. Although, surprisingly, they didn't actually change a lot. They kept quite true to the books this time, which I love. Oh yeah, I also meant to say, no Ben this season, thank goodness. I do kind of hope Ben gets to a place where he can accept himself for who he is, and not take it out on people. But I'm really glad we didn't have to see him. Harry was only in the show for like 2 seconds, so that's good too, but yeah, Ben's gone. Also want to quickly mention how Tori, has a friend called Michael in this. If you know Michael, you know he's in the books as well. In fact, him and Tori have a whole book that I read recently. It's called Solitaire. So he's not quite her boyfriend, but he's not her boyfriend, if that makes sense. Like, so I don't want to spoil it because it actually was changed, and for some reason I didn't really quite like that change. I felt that was weird, but yeah. Like, they're together, but they're not together. I don't really know how to explain that. But I'm really glad that Tori had someone to, like, talk to that, like, wasn't Charlie, in a way. I do find it interesting the way they changed it, but that's fine. Also, Charlie talked about his, like, body issues as well, being ashamed of his body and his scars, because, you know, obviously I told you he relapsed, so he has more scars, and then he doesn't like the way his body looks, and he's afraid Nick won't like his body. Like, that's relatable to me on a personal level as well. So yeah, that's nice. Also, Mr. Ajayi and Mr. Farouk had a lot of nice scenes. I'm really glad that they're there for, like, all the older people watching the show, because I think they deserve to have representation too, because not everyone figures themselves out when they're a teenager. Also, the scene when Mr. Farouk says that, like, the younger like, kids would look up to Charlie as head boy, and then he sees a vision of himself as a kid sitting at the desk, that was so, like, wow, okay, that was touching. Also, Nick and the girls, all went on the, what's it called, university seeing road trip, where they were, like, looking at unis to apply to. The next top one was Kent, but then he didn't like Kent, but he really loves the University of Leeds, but Leeds is 4 hours away from Trim, so that would have been, like, a big, huge thing between Nick and Charlie. For some reason, they cut out the scene, though, at the end of the books when they talk about it, and I thought that was weird. I guess I might know why. I don't really want to talk about why, but yeah, I thought that was a bit weird, actually. So yeah, hopefully, like, when the show gets renewed, they mentioned that. Because that was weird that they didn't. Also, Charlie got to see his celebrity crush. Nick took him. That was really cute. Nick got a bit jealous, and Nick started to fancy him. His name is Jack Maddox. I have his name right there. So yeah, that was pretty funny, actually. That was cute, though. I liked it. Also, Charlie joined Sahar's band, and their performance was awesome. I finally got the musical number I've wanted in Heartstopper for so long. Like, thanks, Alice. It's like you knew me. They just, like, the Nick and the girls just make it before it finishes, because Darcy's not going to university, and I don't know why Sahar stayed behind. Well, for the band, obviously. And then all the other year 10s are like, what's the word? Watching Charlie and Sahar perform with their band, and it's really done really well. I like that. Nick just made it, and it was really great. I also want to quickly mention, I think I said how, like, Charlie's mom was trying. She wasn't actually as bad as I thought she was going to be. I quite liked her, actually. I'm not going to lie. I don't like her as a character, but, like, I liked her more than I thought I would. Like, she did good, at least. She tried. Okay, I guess I should mention it. Nick and Charlie did have sex. The first time was just hand stuff. Yeah. But, it was like, they said it wasn't that great, but it was their first time, so they didn't really expect it to be great. So yeah, they did it, and I'm kind of glad that they did, and it wasn't cringy. I really actually kind of liked it, I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't, like, all hyper-focused on it, obviously, but I liked the way it was written. I think Alice did a great job at showing it, because writing it's probably one thing, but actually showing it is a different story, especially when it's teenagers, but she did well. She did better than Sex Ed. There you go. The girls find out about this, and they make Nick buy condoms and lube while they're on their road trip, and that was so funny. Like, it's embarrassing, but it was quite funny as well. Also, Isaac was really funny this season, actually. He had a lot of good one-liners from, like, being, like, a third wheel, like, because that's how he felt. He's not a third wheel, though, because even though he's a romantic, I think the friendship he has with all of them is just as important as their relationships, I like that. Also, Sahar and Imogen kind of decided not to date each other, but I think Imogen is a lesbian. Because the way she said that when they were at the university, that she doesn't know who she is, she doesn't really like boys and only felt pressured to have a boyfriend, that's kind of like, yeah, the LGBT experience. And also, Sahar said that Imogen's the reason she figured out she was bisexual, so yeah, they'll definitely be ending up together in season 4. I guess that's kind of everything I have to say, really. Like, there are other moments as well, like, the fact that, like, Nick's aunt gave him the speech at the beach instead of his mum, which obviously they had to change, but it was still sad. It wasn't the same without her, but, I guess that's kind of it for this review. I don't want it to be too long. I know I just skipped through a lot of stuff, but it's because I have other videos planned as well that I'm going to talk about other things in it, and I want to save the things for that, if you know what I mean, so yeah. But hopefully you all enjoyed season 3. I kind of rate it 10 out of 10, obviously. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below. And there's going to be a lot of Heartstopper videos in the future. Get ready for it. We're about to become a full Heartstopper channel for a while. There'll be like a couple of other videos in between as a break, because I have other ideas, because I have some plushies I need to review. But I've been waiting for my next video to be the review, so now it's done. And now I have to edit it. I've been recording for 25 minutes. Damn. I'll see you all next time. Bye!